I'm Michelle from Legal Suite, and this is part 1A of capturing in the address book for natural persons. Right, so standing on my Legal Suite desktop, I come into my address book, which is the two little ID card icon, and my address book with all my parties will open. Right, so in order to insert a party, I can either click on my insert button, alternatively, I can right click and also insert there. For the purposes of this, I'm going to use my icons. Right, so I click on insert and address will be added screen appears. Now, for the purposes of this, I'm going to use the role of client. Please do view our webinar on types, roles, and entities before capturing parties in the address book. Okay, so this is a natural person, so it is an adult. I'm going to select female, and I'm now going to complete the general details of this party. Now, I capture usually in capital letters, but you obviously have the choice of capturing in sentence case. Now, at each of our fields, there is what we call a tooltip. So if you hover your mouse over the field, it will tell you exactly what is required in that field. Okay, so I'm going to pop in the surname of my party, and I can either click or I can tab to get to the field below. Now, if a party with a similar, well, the same surname exists, the program will tell you that there is a similar entry in the address book. Please ensure that you are not duplicating the party. So if you see, oh, right, there this person already exists in the address book, you can say, use this entry. Legal Suite will jump to that entry and you can then use the party. Okay. It is highly likely that you would have parties with similar with the same surnames. Your other option, if your party does not appear on that list, is to simply keep going by clicking on the ignore button. So let's do that again. So Jones. Right, I noticed that although there are various people with the surname Jones, my party does not appear in here, so I can say ignore, and the program will allow me to continue. So, right, so in goes our first name, okay. As I click on tab, you will note that the party's initials appear in the initials field. I type in the title. Now, as soon as I tab or click off of the title field, if you just keep your eyes on the salutation, you will see that the program will then use the title and the surname to create a salutation. Now, because this appears in letters, I would reduce this to sentence case. Okay, right, with our little comma. Okay, and I would then carry on. Now, at the known as, if the person has, oh, oopsie, I see we've just got a small typo there. So, there you go. Sorry about that. Okay, so if this person has a nickname or calling name that is not their actual name, so if Samantha Jane is known by any other name, you can type in her nickname in this particular field. It doesn't appear on any of the documents. It is for your own information purposes only. Right, so ID number. Okay, now as soon as I tab or click off of this field, the program is going to insert the date of birth, and it is also going to search the entire address book for a matching ID number. In this case, the ID number didn't appear. The reason it does this is because Samantha Jane Jones may not always have been Jones. She may have recently got married, she may have got divorced, reverted to her maiden name, but the ID number would still be the same. Now, ID type, what type of ID is this? I can see that this is in fact a South African ID number, but your options are passport for non-resident, temporary residence, or other, and other is used mostly for juristic entities. Right, so I select ID document, and my default language is English. So, to the postal address, and again, this is generally the only place that I capture in sentence case because this appears on letters, accounts, and so on and so forth. Now, you will note as I type in the postal address that it copies to the physical address. This is to save you having to type it twice if the postal and the residential addresses are the same. For the purposes of this, I'm going to use a separate postal and residential address. Right, so let's pop in our PO box number. Oopsie. Now, if there are blank lines in the address, when you merge any documents that bring this information in, the program will see, oh, there's a blank line, and simply push up the text so that it is seamless and line by line. Okay, to the physical address, let's pop in the physical address of our party. See, and Cape Town. Okay, right, so we now have the physical address and the postal address. The postal address will be used in any correspondence in any accounts, and the physical address will be used as a domicilium address for conveyancing matters and for a service address for litigation matters. So please ensure that the address that you insert here is the address at which you require service of documents. Okay, so contact details. Again, this is also a little screen where we can use our yellow insert buttons. And it is in this screen here that we will put our various contact details, for example, cell number, email address, work number, home number, fax number, etc., etc. Right, so let's start with the cell number because it is first on the top. So click on the drop down. These are all the various options you have. So let's pop in a cell number. Okay, you can capture your numbers in whatever your convention is. I prefer to put spaces in between the numbers. I find it much easier when looking at a list of telephone numbers and contact numbers. So we say okay. If this person has multiple cell numbers, so let's say she has 2 cell phones, you can put in 2 cell phone numbers. Okay, it'll just pop them in chronological order, whichever digits appear first. So let's also give her an email address. I'm going to pop in my email address. Okay, and again, you can have multiple email addresses, but one needs to be a default email address. Now, this do not display to remote users. This is in the event that you're using our Legal Suite Online product, and if you would like to know more about that, please do have a look at our webinar on that. Right, so we say okay. Let's also give the user of our party an email account for invoicing. So let's say she wants her account to go to a different email address. Okay, let's pop that in. Right, and let's also give her a fax number. Not entirely sure how many people still use faxes. Most of us have fax to email nowadays. And we can also pop in a business telephone number as well. Okay, and again, I have a specific capturing convention. When I capture my numbers, I like to put the dialing code, a hyphen, and then spaces in between the numbers. Okay, so once we've got all of our bits and pieces in there, do not send notifications to this party. Again, please, if you would like to have a look at our webinar on Legal Suite Online, please do so. And this is capturing in the general screen. Now, just a quick note here, you can at any time come back and update these details. If you don't have all the information at your initial capture, please do at some point come back and complete this screen in particular as fully as possible.